Imagine you're at a small reunion dinner with friends you haven't seen in years. The food is good, the laughter is easy, and everything feels the same as it did back in college, until the conversation slowly drifts toward money. Someone casually mentions they just paid off their student loans. Another friend says they maxed out their retirement account this year. Then one quiet friend, the one who never really talked about finances before, casually says they're almost at the number. Everyone nods like they understand exactly what that means. You smile too, but on the drive home something starts bothering you. Because you make decent money, you work hard, you're not irresponsible, and yet somehow you're not even close to the number. You start doing mental math in your head, salary, savings, expenses, and you can't figure out why it feels like you're running a race where the finish line keeps moving further away. Here's the truth most people never realize at that dinner table. The gap between people who quietly build wealth and people who earn good money but still struggle financially usually isn't income. It's decisions, very specific decisions often made during a small 10-year window that compound silently for decades. Once you understand this, you start seeing the pattern everywhere. Let's imagine someone named Alex is 32, works in marketing, earns $70,000 a year, and thinks he's doing pretty well. He has a retirement account he opened when he started his job, but he rarely checks it. He has a few $1,000s in savings and a car payment he barely notices anymore because it's just part of life now. Nothing about Alex's financial life looks unusual because he represents millions of people. The interesting part begins when you look at the numbers behind the scenes. When people search online for the average net worth of Americans, they often see huge numbers that make them feel like they're falling behind. But those numbers are misleading because they include billionaires and ultra-wealthy households. The number that actually matters is the median net worth, the midpoint where half the population is above it and half below. And when you look at the median, the story changes dramatically. For many people under 35, the median net worth is surprisingly small, sometimes barely enough to buy a decent used car. That's not because people are lazy or careless. It's because the system quietly pushes spending decisions that feel normal in the moment but slowly eat away at wealth over time. Think about what happens when someone gets a raise. At first it feels amazing. Maybe the paycheck increases by a few $100s per month. But within a few months, something strange happens. The money disappears. Maybe the apartment gets upgraded. Maybe eating out becomes more frequent. Maybe a nicer car suddenly feels justified. None of these decisions feel reckless. In fact, they feel like progress. But together, they create something called lifestyle inflation. The invisible force that quietly absorbs every increase in income before it ever turns into wealth. Over time, lifestyle inflation can completely erase the financial advantage of earning more money. That's why two people with the same salary can end up living completely different financial lives 20 years later. One person invests the difference every time their income grows. The other lets their lifestyle expand just a little bit each year. The result is a gap that grows silently until it becomes almost impossible to close. Another hidden factor is the cost of everyday financial decisions people rarely question. Take cars, for example. A typical car payment today can easily reach hundreds of dollars per month. Over several years, that single decision can cost tens of thousands of dollars, not just in payments, but in the opportunity cost of what that money could have become if it had been invested instead. When you run the math, the difference is shocking. A few $100s invested consistently over decades can grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars simply through compound growth. The same principle applies to many other everyday expenses: subscriptions, convenience spending, impulse purchases, and lifestyle upgrades that slowly accumulate without us noticing. Another major difference between households building wealth and those struggling financially comes from something surprisingly simple: automation. When savings happen automatically, like retirement contributions deducted directly from a paycheck, people tend to accumulate far more wealth over time. When saving requires constant decisions and discipline, most people eventually stop prioritizing it. Human psychology plays a huge role here. We are naturally wired to prioritize present comfort over future rewards. That's why systems that remove the need for constant decisions tend to outperform systems that rely on motivation alone. Housing decisions also play a major role in long-term financial outcomes.